I believe that I scored goals easy. It was easier to score goals on a Saturday than it was in training.
Right, see.
Because someone like Martin.
Someone?
No, I love hearing all that stuff.
Honestly,
I love when I hear top players who were at it all the time.
Martin don't give you a minute's break in training.
I'll be so. They don't mind me saying it. I think they wouldn't mind because I think for me that's what's missing in the game. Sometimes you have to live with your time, and it's a different era. But I remember arriving in England and having that European continental way of playing. You know, if you pull the shot of someone, if you stop, usually the ref blow the whistle. So I arrived, I shielded the ball. I think we were playing Leicester at home, my first game, and someone went in front of me, took the ball. I thought he kicked me and I thought he pulled my shirt. So, you know, in a nice way, I stopped. Counter. My fans started to have a go at me. Everybody started to go at me. I came back in the dressing room after the game. Lee Dixon came up to me and said, "Oi, you," I won't say the rest. "You need to," I won't say the rest. Move. So I was like, okay. But the whole week after in training, oh my God. I needed protection here, protection there. It's just the fact that they were willing to let you know what it takes at this club to win and what this club means to everybody and to themselves. And you are not supposed to come here and F around. Yeah. That's about it. Whatever you want before, it doesn't matter. Come here, make us believe or make us, see that you can perform. And then, after the battle for you, though. Yes. Oh, Martin Keown would have put his nose for me anywhere, at any time. Yeah. But I go back to your point. I always had Martin in training. But Roy, you guys are laughing.
Kicking, you want proper kicking in training? Yeah, go through you.
How else can he play?
True. I was being polite, yeah.
I will apologize to Martin. I'm not saying that in a bad way. No. But Martin always played 100. Against his son, he would have been against anyone, he would have been 100. If he has to step on your head, it's every single time.
He would always say that you're not going to get marked like this tomorrow.
Oh my God.
That's the kind of thing, you won't get marked like this on Saturday.
Biting, pulling.
Did you ever like, sort of edge with him or like a little bit of sort of in training?
Me and Martin had when you jump up and it gets all like that, but once Martin does the eyes, you just back off him. You know what I mean? But like, when his eyes go, if he thinks you're taking a piss, he goes crazy. But like, he was right for me. You know what I mean? He used to mark me in all the training.
You know what he used to say to, because Martin, as you know, can, always has a thing where, with the back four, I'm not going to go there, no, I'm not going there.
Yeah, he's not involved.
Every day in training, he used to come and say to me, "Thierry, I'm playing against you today again, you see? They don't want anyone else to get embarrassed. They give me the dirty They know who's the best. Don't tell them.
Don't tell them.
Oh, my God.
Who started? You have to go all the way back to Patrick Vieira being sent off.
Yeah.
Ruud van Nistelrooy feigns injury. You could say it's cheating. He goes down and Patrick Vieira sent off. And then after that, it was like the Alamo, because they saw they had a chance to win the game. Yeah. There's a penalty, which you could argue wasn't a penalty, which I'm involved in. A few finger pointing from some of my teammates, and then he misses. And of course, then he's the figure of hate, really, because we're only in that position, we feel, because he's got one of our colleagues sent off, Ruud van Nistelrooy. So that's when...
So he got Patrick sent off, and then he misses the penalty, and then, as far as you're concerned, the red mist descended.
Well, just gave it in rear. So, I mean, people say, do you regret? I don't really regret anything in my life, You look back, if it was right then, it's right now. When I make my decisions, that's how I am. I don't really enjoy what it might represent, and then what it meant to the football club in terms of fines, in terms of suspensions. Lauren got 4 games, I got 3 games, Vieira 1 game, Parla 1 game. It's unbelievable when you look back at it. £275,000 worth of fines. But something that little do people know, that actually I was only earning 25% of my wages was like a flat fee. The rest, 85%, so the rest of it, 75% came in appearance money. So it was actually costing me far more than the figures that have ever been revealed.
So it cost you paid a heavy price for it.
I did, and let's say the FA changed the roof down at the FA headquarters based on the money they got from that one. The Manchester United players, I think they got £7,000 and £4,000 a piece, no suspensions. But look,
but you're saying if it happened again this Saturday, you'd behave in exactly the same way?
I don't try to preempt anything like that. It was an emotion, raw emotion. There was a massive rivalry between these two football clubs, and there was a game within a game. Every time the referee made a decision, we had to be there with them because we didn't want the referee to influence it.
Yeah.
Now you get told off for that. Oh, you can't condone that. You can't have young players doing it. But I'm telling you, you can influence. And Manchester United felt like they were influencing.
Have you patched up with Van Nistelrooy?
Oh, I immediately afterwards, I think the FA Cup game, I went to shake his hands. He cowered a little bit, but I said I was apologising. I did say.
What do you mean? What did he do?
He just sort of tried to back away, but I shook his hand and said, "Don't take it personal." Do you know?
Yeah.
So, and I don't think any of those guys really did.
I mean, I was the scapegoat, Matt. All I was doing is throwing out team instructions. Boring Arsenal were 1-0 up. They'd kick the ball out of play to waste time. We knew what was going on. There's Martin asking me out for a dinner date. I mean, look, Martin was a great player.
I think Chris
was certainly trying to intimidate me there. You can see I'm not falling for it, but no, I have to say, Martin tried to get in the dressing room after me on that occasion, and the reason I didn't go for him because I didn't want to humiliate him at that particular time.
We were a little bit angry that day. I think Chris completely forgot himself for a moment, and sporting behaviour went out of the window. But why didn't start it? Chris did.
So is it? How long was it until you came out of the toilet, Chris? I believe you were barricaded in there. How long did you feel you had to wait till it was safe?
I think about 25 minutes. I mean, I tell you, I mean, you know, it's interesting that Arsenal blamed me. I think you didn't get in the Champions League. Martin, but you did lose to, I think it was, did you lose to Leeds or Newcastle? So you had games after that. But I've read, Martin, that you actually...
You did us a favour, Chris.
That I was the reason you won the double the next season?
Well, you did us a favour because we didn't have any European football. So in '98, we ended up winning the double, which I don't think we would have done, in fairness, if we'd have been playing in Europe. But no, they were good days. Good days, honest battle. But in those days, you're up against your opponent. As I say, you know, there's two centre forwards, two central defenders, and I was quite happy with that sort of combat, shall we say, that contact. And when the likes of Sheringham, for instance, by not affecting you, and not, he really affected the game because he'd go and play quite deep. It was difficult to know whether we could go in and after him. You couldn't because you needed to give cover to your teammate. And that created a different sort of situation for us. And I think the game then started to evolve. Dennis Bergkamp was playing for us in a very deep lying position. And nowadays, you see most teams now with one up top. And if you see Liverpool, the way that they've got almost like inside forwards, so they're not wingers or centre forwards, that has evolved and made it much more difficult for defenders to know where to be on the pitch.
I broke my shoulder playing for England at the start of that season, so I missed the first sort of 10 or 15 games, which was a major blow, but got back just in time to make an impact on the season.
Yeah.
But that was quite a bad injury.
It's just shoulder, wasn't it?
Yeah, just went over the top of somebody. And unfortunately, I fractured it in the game before, and had some pain, but we didn't know. But I never even had an X-ray. I should really have gone for an X-ray. And then, of course, it's sheared off completely in the next game. So it was I think if I was a rugby player, I don't think I'd have been playing. It might have finished my career, but unfortunately, I'm not a rugby player. Some people might have thought I was better suited to that. I think the season before that, Arsene Wenger had just come in for 6 months or so, and we were very close second, weren't we? We finished third, same points, and so we knew there was a change happening, and you know, we knew that there would be some improvement. So no, it wasn't. Of course, it was a major shock to ultimately go on and win the league because we were some number of points behind Manchester United. But I just remember that it was like we just got on a train, and it was just like nothing was going to stop us. And there was such a belief amongst the group. You know, I think for the very first time, I think you looked around the dressing room and saw real quality players everywhere, and you could virtually have gone to war with that group. If you look back and you think of Manny Petit, great player in midfield, Patrick Vieira. Patrick for me was the real sort of catalyst of the way that the team, the brand of football they wanted to play, because he just had to have the ball, you know, and he never gave it you back. And you know, Bergkamp, another one, made things happen. And of course, then you had a succession of strikers, Ian Wright and Elka as well. So great players. I remember Overmars getting the ball when he first came and just having a giggle to myself, having had a look at him in pre-season training, that this guy's just going to destroy you, and that's what he did. He moved from one side of the pitch to the other so quickly, it was almost as if someone had picked him up and put him there. He did it without you seeing. Ian Wright scoring his record number of goals, and then Anelka. You know, you see the Anelka now, but we always felt that what an outstanding player, the best 17-year-old striker I've ever seen. Just phenomenal.
I'm sure he wants to go down a manager's route one day as well, and it's a stepping stone for him. You know, the funny story I can tell you about Freddie was a little bit lazy at times. I mean, we used to train at Sopwell House, Al, which was a hotel, you know Sopwell House well, which is a lot of where the FA Cup final teams used to stay. And the car park was about 100 yards from the main entrance where we walked in. And I always remember, he always used to park in a disabled car park spot. And because he couldn't be bothered to walk the 100 yards. And I always remember Martin Keown, he's a classic. He came in one day and said, Freddie, if I see your car parked in that disabled spot once more, I'm going to knock you out. And he never done it again. Obviously, Martin was an old character, and Freddie always he ended up parking in the car park again. But he was a good guy, Freddie.
Has he been living here?
Right. Yeah. I think he lives in Hampstead, in North London. But he settled really quickly into London. Loved the London life. And again, he played in very good teams and won lots of trophies. So he's got an opportunity now under Emery. As I said before, I'm going to pre-season. I'll be looking forward to seeing what Freddie brings to the team. Yeah. Because, you know, he was in winning teams, and hopefully he can get that across to the players, what you've got to do to try and be winners. As much as Steve Bold was, Freddie was in very, very successful teams.
I always told him, if he listen, he won't be surprised. I always told him that football saved his life, or otherwise he would have been a criminal. He would have been probably in the hospital.
Martin Keown would have been a criminal.
This guy, he could be. I mean, football saved him. You know, the rules on the pitch. You know, the fact that he could fight. On the pitch, but with laws. You know, with referees, things like this. You know, he knew that television was looking at him, fans were looking at him, so he had to behave, you know, in a good manners as well. But I remember so many things, you know, with him. This guy sometimes reminds me of psychopaths, you know. No, I told him, football saved you, otherwise you'll be in trouble, you know, in normal life, because he's such a nice guy, but all of a sudden, in space of 1 second, boom. He can change his face.
Did you ever see that outside of the football pitch? Yes, of course, I've seen it.
Come
on, tell me.
You don't remember the game we played against Sheffield United? The fight he had with Paolo Di Canio, Paul Durkin, the referee?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
We all know that. Sheffield Wednesday. And the following game at Highbury, you know, I think it was a joke between David Platt and Ian Wright.
When he scored in the goal celebration,
and they asked him to push him, and then they fall, and he was making a big scene of it. And I remember we try, you know, to take off Martin's hands and fingers to Paolo Di Canio's throat. You know, he was trying to strangle him, and he was almost ready to do it. And so you could see his eyes; he was not there anymore. He just wanted to kill Paolo Di Canio. So the way he plays, you know, the way he used to take care of the strikers all the time, I was. You know, me and Patrick in the midfield, we were so happy to have Tony, to have the back four, you know, the English guys, because we could travel everywhere in the world with them.
Yeah.
They would fight until they die on the pitch. And Martin, and it's funny because I see Tony was clever enough, you know, to understand that. And he was trying, I'm not saying that in a bad way, you know, it's kind of joke, you know, but I think Tony understand it, and he was managing Martin just like someone is walking, you know, with his dangerous dog, you know.
On a lead. Every so often he'd let him go.
Yeah.
Kill!
Go and attack him. Yeah, kill him.
Go get him.
I can tell you a story about Martin Keown, and this is an England training camp under Kevin Keegan, and do you know when you're warming up before the warm up, so you're doing a little circle, and exactly the same. You get two in the middle, and bang, bang, bang. Anyway, someone's nutmegged Martin, and someone give it nuts, and then someone put a short ball into Tim Sherwood, and Martin Keown has 2-footed him. He got stretchered off. This is before the warm up started. Now, Kevin Keegan's like, what, Martin? And he went, no, he said, when we do a five-a-side later, Martin, I'm on your side, definitely. That's what Kevin Keegan said. Anyway, that night, I was walking to dinner, and Martin's room was 2 doors up or whatever, so I knocked on his door. I said, all right, Martin? He said, you right, Ray, we go to dinner? Yeah, come then, let's go. I said, Martin, what happened with that tackle? You know, that's a bit out of order, isn't it? Why'd you do that for? He only nutmegged you. It's no big deal, is it? He went, nutmeg? No. 8 months ago, he done me, and I was out for 12 weeks.
8 months ago.
I've always wanted to get him back.
You talk about the kind of drinking culture at the club at the time, and you not being a part of it. Like, how bad were things, and were there situations that you found yourself in that you were thinking, oh my God, how have I ended up here?
Do you know, I saw probably too much. I saw guys like scrumming in the pub, you know, like big name players. I won't name anybody. And I'm looking back, think, wow, what's going on? I was in digs with one player who said, come on, come out, just be there. And I thought, okay, I will, I'll watch. And I thought, wow, I'm not coming again. But I remember John Lukic, funnily, said to me, he's thinking of buying a minibus. He was picking so many people up for training. There was so many without driving licenses.
Really?
Yeah, loads of the players, that seemed to be the order of the day. There was a couple of pubs, the Chase Tavern, I think it was, in Southgate or Cockfosters area, where they'd all go to. I went along once, and I think Graham Ricks asked me to buy I thought he was out of order, to be honest. He asked me to buy a round of drinks. That was a week's wages. So, being as tight as I am, that was another reason why I didn't want to go back. But
Martin was tighter than a dead heat.
Yeah, that's right.
Dead heat.
So it was one. We had to be careful with your wages, the money that Arsenal were paying, as you well know.
Yeah. But I didn't realise, like, obviously, going through your book On the Edge, right? It's congratulations to it as well, because it's a great read, and I'm very nostalgic about football, and that Arsenal team, I didn't realise you came through with the likes of Charlie Nicholas, Graham Ricks, that was early on, and then you've seen it right the way through, and I know you went away and came back, but I didn't realise quite, so that was almost a bit of a drinking culture already, and then you've got Paul Merson, Tony Adams, the players that went through troubles.
There were good role models in there, though, because, like Pat Jennings, if you've met Pat, what a wonderful
Love Pat.
man.
He was a big influence on my career at Tottenham.
He was fantastic to think that I'd played with him, Paul Mariner, Tony Woodcock, Viv Anderson. The Viv was, he won the European Cup, he won the league for Forest. I really liked his sort of winning culture that he was all about. Let's get the job done, let's get out of here. So there were good people, but there were lots of red flags as well. And if I saw alcohol, I probably was a bit out of order in terms of what I saw. On my first Christmas do I went on, I was given a bit of stick to David Leary a couple of weeks before. Kenny Sampson asked me outside for a scrap. And Paul Mariner jumped in to say, no, we want the young players to express themselves, to have a bit of banter, to have a bit of personality. What are you doing? So it was always seen to be these markers everywhere, and I'd be in some sort of scrap. As a young player, they threatened to throw me out of the club if I threw another punch. It was that bad. But I was kind of like on this mission to from the out of area player. I wasn't a Cockney. I wasn't from London. I don't know if you've experienced this, a little bit silly, but Tony Adams was the blue-eyed boy on the inside, and I was the out-of-town centre-back, and I had to fight a pathway. Myself and Tony talked about that, and how Tony admired that, because he wasn't going to stand back and tell me that at that point. But we did have similar journeys, but they pitched us against each other a little bit. But